we're being joined by Chris Hatfield. He is the former commander of the International Space Station and also the author of Apollo Murders. He's joining us live from Ontario in Canada. Mr. Hatfield, this is a proud moment, for Indians and indeed for every space enthusiast around the world. India has now become the first nation ever to soft land on the south pole of the moon. What are your thoughts there, sir?
I think Prime Minister Modi said it really well. He said India's example and determination and their success today, he said all humanity can now aspire to the moon and beyond. So I think those words are really prophetic. It is so incredibly hard to do what happened today. I mean, almost nobody in all of human history has been able to organize themselves to safely and softly land on the surface of the moon. And it just opens the doors now to discovery, to exploration, and to truly understanding the moon and all that it might be able to benefit for Earth and humanity itself. So yeah, this was a really hard step to get over. Everybody should be celebrating with pride.
Now, a lot of the scientists who've been talking on this issue, they've said, it is pivotal that we have to land on the south pole of the moon because this is where we expect to find water. And they say for deep space exploration, moon can in fact be one of those points where we can go to get more resources such as water and other things before we can venture out deeper into space. How crucial is it to find water on the surface of the moon?
If you took an ice cube of water and just set it on the surface of the moon, it would be gone in a very short amount of time because the heat from the sun and the vacuum of space would just turn it into gas. But if you get down to the south pole of the moon and you get into a crater that is always in the shade from the sun, then the water will just sit there and collect over billions of years. But nobody's been there yet. Mm-hmm. That's the big question. Is the water that is in the craters at the south pole of the moon, is it a resource that we can use? Because if the water is there, like we think it is, then we can use it for fuel, because it's hydrogen and oxygen, and for eventually for people on the moon as water to drink. So it's a super important discovery to prove. And Chandrayaan-3, with some of the scientific sensors that they have on board, the lander and the rover, is going to be looking for water, amongst other things.
Absolutely indeed. Now, the fact that water exists on the moon was in fact found by Chandrayaan-1 back in 2009. That was through indirect evidence that it was found by Chandrayaan-1. But now Chandrayaan-3 is looking to get direct evidence of the existence of water. For people who are laymen, who are not very familiar with the science of these things, it is said that in the craters on the southern pole of the moon, sunlight has not entered for millions of years, if not billions of years. And the temperatures there could be as low as minus 200 Kelvin. In what form or shape or chemical composition do we expect to find water there? And even if we were to find it, how easy or how difficult will it be to access that water?
Well, yeah, it is incredibly cold. In fact, those permanently shadowed craters at the south pole of the moon, they might be the coldest place in our entire solar system. If you take away all the heat, if you just keep removing heat, eventually you get down to absolute zero, where there is no more heat at all. And we think the temperature in those craters is only maybe 15 or 20 degrees above absolute zero. So we're not even sure how the water will behave at that incredibly cold temperature. It's going to be harder than rock. And it's maybe going to be mixed up with the dust and the dirt of the moon itself, or it may be intertwined with the rock that's in the craters. Nobody knows. But we think if you heat it or dig into it or excavate it, that the water is going to be readily available. And by our best guess, there's about 400 billion liters of water available on the moon. So a tremendous amount. And the only way to see if we can use it or not is to go look. And that's what Vikram is doing. But very shortly, that's what Pragyan is about to do. Go look and see so we can answer that question.
Absolutely indeed, Mr. Hatfield. Thank you very much indeed, sir, for joining us and getting us all those insights then.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.